The wind howled through the empty stretch of highway, carrying the taste of dust and the promise of rain. A silver sedan sat half-submerged in mud by the roadside, its tires spinning helplessly, smoke curling faintly from the hood. Inside, a woman sat gripping the steering wheel, her trembling hands betraying her composure. Her phone showed no signal, her designer heels were caked in dirt, and the sky above was quickly darkening. She had been driving for hours, running from something she couldn't even name. That was when a battered blue pickup truck slowed to a stop beside her, and a rugged man in his mid-30s stepped out, his flannel shirt rolled up to his elbows, his eyes filled with a quiet steadiness. He didn't know that the woman he was about to help, the one stranded in the middle of nowhere, was the CEO of the very company he worked for. And she didn't know that the man standing before her, offering his hand, was a single father fighting every day to hold his world together. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of doing good without expecting anything in return, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. It helps us bring more real, heart-touching stories like this to you. Noah Carter lived a simple life on the outskirts of Willow Creek, a small town surrounded by fields and pine woods. He woke before sunrise each day, packed lunch for his 10-year-old daughter, Mia, and drove her to school before heading to his shift at the local branch of Horizon Industries, a manufacturing plant that had once been the lifeline of the community. Things hadn't been easy for Noah since his wife's passing 3 years ago. Cancer had taken her quickly, leaving behind a silence that still haunted their small home, but Noah never let that pain show in front of Mia. He smiled, even when the bills piled up. He laughed, even when his heart didn't want to. That morning had started like any other, until the plant manager called all workers together. There were rumors of layoffs, budget cuts, restructuring, words that floated like a dark cloud above the workers. Noah had been with the company for 8 years, loyal, hardworking, but he knew loyalty didn't always protect you. He was still thinking about it when, on his way home through the forest road, he saw the stranded car. The woman stepped out as he approached, trying to hide her frustration. She was tall, poised mid-30s, with sharp features softened by exhaustion. Her clothes screamed city wealth, cream-colored blazer, pearl earrings, but her face showed something else, a kind of quiet desperation that didn't belong to money. "Looks like you're stuck," Noah said, kneeling by the wheel. His voice carried that unhurried calm of someone who'd seen too many hard days to be surprised by another. "I've been here for hours," she said, her tone polite but clipped. "I tried calling for help, but no signal." "Yeah, this area's a dead zone," he replied, glancing at the sky. "Rain's coming. Let's get you out before it gets worse." He used a tow chain, some planks, and a patience that only years of single parenting could teach. The car finally rolled free, splattering mud across his jeans. The woman exhaled in relief. He smiled, wiped his hands, and nodded. "There you go. Should be fine now." "Thank you," she said genuinely. I don't even know your name." "Noah," he said simply. "You're safe now. Be careful. The roads flood easy here." She hesitated before offering her name. "I'm Claire Whitmore." Noah nodded politely. He didn't recognize the name, and she didn't expect him to. But Claire Whitmore was not just anyone. She was the new CEO of Horizon Industries, the very company whose restructuring plans might soon decide Noah's fate. Claire had taken over Horizon only a few months earlier. She was known in the corporate world as the woman who could fix a broken companies, but in her heart she was tired. The board's pressure, endless meetings, and sleepless nights had turned her into someone she barely recognized. Her trip that day was meant to clear her mind. She had driven out of the city to see the rural plant herself, to understand the people behind the reports. but the storm had stranded her long before she arrived. When Noah offered to drive ahead of her to make sure the road was clear, she didn't refuse. His truck was old but reliable, and there was something deeply comforting in his quiet presence. He didn't try to impress her. He didn't ask questions. He just helped, selflessly, like it was second nature. By the time they reached the town, the rain had begun to pour. Claire's car sputtered and died outside the only diner still open. Noah insisted she come inside and wait until the storm passed. The diner smelled of coffee and pie, and its warm light contrasted the cold outside. They sat at a corner table, two strangers sharing stories without realizing their worlds were already connected. Noah told her about his daughter, how she wanted to be a teacher, how they planted sunflowers in their backyard because her mom loved them. Claire listened quietly, her heart softening with each word. She found herself telling him about her own loneliness, the kind that success couldn't cure. People think having everything means you feel fulfilled, she said softly, but sometimes the higher you climb, the lonelier it gets. Noah nodded. Maybe, but having someone waiting for you at home, even if it's just a little girl who wants pancakes for dinner, that keeps you grounded. For a moment, they both smiled, sharing an unspoken understanding that life's true worth wasn't measured in money or titles, but in small, human connections. The next morning, Claire insisted on thanking him properly. "Let me at least pay you for your help," she said. Noah shook his head. "You don't owe me anything, just glad you're safe." He drove away before she could argue further, his truck vanishing down the dirt road. When Claire finally arrived at the Horizon plant later that week, she walked through the factory floor with a different perspective. The smell of oil and iron, the sound of machines, and the faces of tired workers all felt heavier now. She saw not just employees but lives, men and women holding families together, much like the man who had helped her, and then she saw him. Noah was bent over a conveyor line, sleeves rolled up, fixing a jammed motor. Sweat glistened on his forehead and his hands moved with quiet precision. For a moment Claire just watched stunned. The man who had rescued her, the man who refused her money, was one of her workers. When their eyes met, recognition flickered across Noah's face, followed by something else, unease. He wiped his hands and straightened. "Ma'am," he said, his tone careful now. Claire smiled faintly. "So this is what you meant by just work at the plant." He looked embarrassed. "Didn't seem important then." "It is," she said softly, "more than you know." Over the next few weeks, something shifted at Horizon. Claire began to visit the plant more often, not as a distant CEO, but as someone who wanted to understand. She spoke with workers, joined them in the cafeteria, and quietly took notes on what could be improved. Noah noticed the changes, the new safety gear, the cleaner break room, the fairer shift schedules. He didn't know if she was doing it for him or for everyone, but he respected it deeply. One evening, she found him repairing an old forklift long after his shift had ended. "You're still here?" she asked. He smiled. "It's either this or sit at home worrying about bills. Might as well fix something that can actually be fixed." His words hit her harder than she expected. That night she stayed too, handing him tools, listening, learning. For the first time in years, she felt human again. Then, one Monday morning, the announcement came. The company had been planning major layoffs, but Claire had halted them. Instead, she proposed a restructuring plan that would protect the plant and its workers. It meant cutting executive bonuses and trimming profits, but it saved jobs. The board wasn't happy. They called her idealistic, sentimental, but she didn't care. "I've met the people who keep this company alive," she told them. "They're not just numbers, they're families." The news spread fast. On the factory floor, people cheered. Noah stood quietly, holding back tears. He didn't know that he had been the reason behind her change of heart, but he didn't need to. Later that day, Claire found him outside, by the same truck that had saved her weeks ago. "You taught me something, Noah," she said. "You reminded me what leadership really means." He smiled humbly, didn't mean to teach anyone anything, just doing what felt right. She looked at him, her eyes glistening. That's exactly what makes the difference. They stood there under the afternoon sun, the air filled with the sound of laughter from the factory windows. It wasn't love that bound them, not yet, but something just as rare, respect born from kindness and the quiet realization that sometimes the people who rescue you aren't the ones with power or titles, but those who still believe in doing good even when no one's watching. Weeks later, Claire attended the town school fair where Mia's class was performing. When she saw Noah helping his daughter paint a banner that read "Kindness makes the world brighter," her heart swelled. After the show, Mia ran up to her, smiling. "Your dad's boss, right?" Claire knelt beside her. "Something like that. But I think he's the one who taught me how to be a better person." Mia giggled and handed her a sunflower from their garden. "Mom said sunflowers always turn toward the light," she said. "Dad says we should too." Claire held the flower gently. "He's right," she whispered. As the sun dipped below the hills, painting the sky gold, Claire looked out at the small town families laughing together, and for the first time in years she felt peace. Noah stood nearby, smiling, his daughter's hand in his. Their eyes met, and in that moment everything that mattered was wordless, but understood. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to Kindness Journal for more real, emotional stories that remind us there's still good in the world. Special request: before you go, comment below, kindness still exists. Let's fill this space with light.